I don't know about everybody. The Ukraine thing has me. It stirred me in a lot of different ways, and a lot of them, some good and some bad. Everybody loves David and Goliath, but we have to remind ourselves that Goliath usually wins, and it's a troubling thing for me, inspiring and troubling all at the same time. And one of the things that I see is, because I've been to countries in the region, and I can check, if you look on Operation World, it'll tell you where a country is as far as their socioeconomic status. And, United States is way up toward the top, and I've been to Cambodia, and it's way down toward the bottom. If you go in the middle, you'll find countries like Armenia and Ukraine. And my experience is they've got poor areas, but a lot of the stuff is just normal. People in Kyiv go to McDonald's. And I don't know what other, probably KFC. KFC is big everywhere too. And there are people leaving their homes. And there's a real possibility there won't be a home when they come back. And I don't know, I don't mean be facetious. I don't know how well Nationwide covers Russian invasion. And everything they have, potentially for a lot of these people, is going to turn to dust. It goes away. Now we set up our, the United States set up pretty good the whole manifest destiny. Let's take the whole continent, because what that means is we don't fight wars here. It's not much likelihood our stuff's going to turn to dust. And so we have insulated ourselves so well that we don't appreciate some of the stuff that's very real. And the reason I want to say it is because it ties in to now. I don't know how many of you watched the Super Bowl. I watched the end of it. I'm a Los Angeles Rams fan since I was this tall. And actually, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Los Angeles. And so I get pretty excited and intense when I watch. So I actually just watched the end because I emotionally couldn't watch the whole thing as my team, came from behind and won a Super Bowl, and it was wonderful and spectacular. And then if you go to the city, whatever city's winning a Super Bowl or a World Series or NBA championship or a Stanley Cup, whatever, and they'll have the parade. Everybody goes down and there's the big parade, and everybody's celebrating that their team won. And I imagine there are people, like I remember going to a sporting event with my sister for our high school and getting in the car on the way home, and she asks, "Who won?" Anybody like that? And I am sure if you go to the parade for every one of those championships, you'll have people who's out on the parade ground, and you go, "How'd you like the game?" "Well, I didn't watch the game." "But you're celebrating." "Yeah." But I guarantee they're not celebrating as well as the people who watched the game, who were there when their team fumbled the ball, who were there when the other team took the lead in the fourth quarter, who were there when their team missed an extra point when it was crucial, who were there through the whole, like a NASCAR Cup championship for your driver, and it took from January to December to get it. And the celebration that you feel is directly tied to the fact that you went through the battle. You went through the event. And as somebody who was not raised in a group that did anything resembling the high church things like Ash Wednesday and Lent and Palm Sunday, I don't think I even knew what that was growing up, and Good Friday, and then definitely not any of the other pieces. There's a real tendency, I'm afraid, and I don't mean we're being bad, there's a tendency to show up at the parade for Easter, but we didn't watch the game. We just come tripping in, and we're happy, we're wearing purple, we have eggs, but we didn't take any time to get ready. I remember growing up and finding out it was Easter on Sunday morning. And we get in the car and go, and it was Easter, because we had an Easter egg hunt at church, and that's how it was. And I think as somebody who grew up outside of that, one of the things I admire about the more high traditions is they try to get you ready. They try to let you go through the game before the parade, so that the concept behind Ash Wednesday, which is not biblical, there's nothing in the Bible about it. It's not like a sin if you don't do it. But what it does is it says, okay, what Jesus did on the cross was monumentally huge. And if you miss the cross, you're not going to fully appreciate the resurrection. And the importance to me of the Ash Wednesday concept is it reminds us of what Jesus did for us. Because I'll hear people all the time, I'm really big on Jesus. I don't know how I get through any of my days without Jesus. Well, that's cool and all. But Jesus is the one that kept me out of hell. Jesus is the one that took me from the absolute pits of what I actually deserve and raised me to fellowship with God. And it's cool that he helps me get through problems now. But those are little itty-bitty things. What he did was he took such a worm as I and elevated me. He took somebody like me who's still a sinner and paid the price for the full Monty of how bad I was and am. And what Ash Wednesday is about, in my opinion, I'm not a theologian and scholar in those areas, is it's to remind us how far Jesus had to reach down to get us. Because if you've been a Christian long enough, you start to think you're kind of halfway there anyway. And we don't mean it, we don't do it on purpose, it just sort of happens. We get to the point where it's just, how far did he have to reach to get? He had to reach deep into the slime to find me. He had to reach deep down in the muck to find all of us. And so when we do Ash Wednesday, what we're doing is we're reminding ourselves how far Jesus had to come to get us. And the purpose and the point of Lent, and however you want to acknowledge it, or if you do or you don't, it doesn't matter to me, is to just take this time frame to remind yourself how far Jesus came down to get you. So that after 40 days of reminders, when you get to Good Friday, maybe you'll feel the weight of the cross for yourself a little bit more. Maybe when you get to Sunday morning, it won't be as much about a nice outfit as it is the Super Bowl parade. Because I just went through the entire thing. I just spent some time analyzing how much Jesus did for me. So, just a reminder, see, when we underestimate our sinfulness, we undervalue the cross, we underappreciate the resurrection. So however you choose to commemorate these next few weeks, I challenge you and I challenge me, find a devotion, do something to remind yourself what the battle was about, how far Jesus had to reach, and how happy we can be in those weeks from now when we celebrate the fact that he rose from the dead with my heart. Okay? So we're going to do one more responsive reading, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple of the elders are going to come, one on each side, and we're going to, I'll put a little cross. It's ashes. We didn't do palm leaves from last palms. You guys come on up. We didn't do palm leaves. Well, stay there. No, come on up. I already told you to stand up, so come on up. We don't do this a lot. We're not real good at this stuff, so you have to forgive us. If you're raised Catholic, we apologize for how poorly we do things like this. So what we'll do is there'll be one person on each side with ashes. and one person with communion stuff. So what you'll do is you come up. If you want the ashes, you go to the ash person. Might be better if you switch places. He's ashes. Okay. He's okay. As long as we're good. We got ashes and we got communion. So you come up after the responsive reading, and you'll get it. If you want ashes, you go to Tim or Kevin, and then after you get the ashes, you go to these two. If you don't want the ashes, just come right and get your communion stuff and go back to your seat, okay? Because there's no judgment. It's what you know. This is you getting ready for Easter, not me getting you ready for Easter, okay? So let's take this out of Joel chapter 2, which is a pretty powerful passage. It says, "Turn to me now while there is time. Give me your hearts." Return to the Lord your God, for he is merciful and compassionate. Blow the ram's horn in Jerusalem. Announce a time of fasting. Gather all the people, the elders, the children, even the babies. Let the priests who minister in the Lord's presence stand and weep between the entry to the temple and the altar. Let them pray, "Spare your people, Lord." Eventually, Jesus comes and spares us. And so now we humble ourselves a little bit before him to acknowledge how far he came for us.